what up? Welcome to Texans Underground. I am your host, the Black Lion 17. Bulls, let's ride. We going. We gotta keep trucking. Yeah! What's happening again? Like I say, fellas, please, ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button down there. Hit that subscribe button down there. Let's get this video to 100. It's free. Free. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Look, today, it's gonna be a real quick video. It's just some things that been going on the past weekend. I say this past weekend, but this past week, you guys, you know what I'm saying? Kind of early here, H-Town, Texas, baby. But look, you know what I'm saying? Hey, check this out. It's been a couple of things going on this past week, right? A couple of rumors here and there. We finally got all our coaching hires done. So it's going to change a lot for the mock draft. And I'm coming with the top 5 prospects, in my opinion, for each position. I'll be having that drop soon. I'm still doing a little work. As you guys can see, I told you, I'm doing some work, babe. I'm getting there. So if you the first 100 to be here, y'all gonna see how it elevates. And then watch to the end of the video, please. Got a new introduction, new theme music. On top of that, at the end, we're gonna have a little theme song at the end. Hey, so tell me which one y'all like. Leave it in the comments. Do you like the end or do you like the beginning? Which theme music you like? And then we're gonna take a vote and we're gonna use that from now on, going with the for our intro theme. So with that being said, again, shout out to everyone that has been on the channel, liking and watching. So, quick thoughts on a couple of things that's been going on, right? I have been watching a lot of QB tape. Shout out to QB School on YouTube. That guy's amazing. Go and check him out. QB School. He breaks down film. He's a former NFL quarterback. He has a bunch of things going on throughout different platforms. So, in watching him and also using my own 4 eyes, I went back and I watched some Will Levis tape. And this is, I'm going to put it like this. This is my opinion, right? And I'm always going to state that because I'm a type of person that I don't like when people come on YouTube and say, hey, this is facts or this is what it is or whatever. Because you know what I'm saying? You can't sit here and determine that. Or I hate when people say, oh, you don't know, you can't see what these prospects are. That's not true. That's the same thing that the GMs and everybody else is getting paid for. So you have an opinion, they have an opinion of these prospects. So again, in my opinion, like I said, it was gonna be a quick video, but I just wanted to go through a couple of things that I've been seeing. So with Will Levis, I did watch a few games throughout college football season. I won't say the whole game, but a few games of when Kentucky played some high-profile people. Will Levis. So to backtrack real quick, I'm one of those guys. I do not like when ESPN or NFL Network catapults players up into the first round after one season and we never heard of them before the season. So what I will say is Will Levis is not that guy, right? Will Levis has been talked about with these 3 individuals, including Bryce and CJ, since 2 years ago. He has been one of those guys that they've been saying that, okay, he's going to be a prospect in the NFL. Not necessarily as a first round guy, but just a highly prospect as far as NFL talent. So if we go back a few years, right, this is the thing that is killing me with people just in general. I'm not understanding. Just a few years ago, I want to say about 2 years ago, everybody from Mel Kiper to people in Pee Wee talking football in the barbershop, and that Pee Wee was saying, oh, let's just wait till the 2023. 2023 is going to be the best QB draft class. We're here. The top guys that we've been saying are all here, except for one, Spencer. Even though Spencer Rattler was supposed to be last year, he stayed, transferred to South Carolina. He's played some decent ball. I'm glad he went back to school. That's why I kind of wish Anthony Richardson would have went back to school, but I understand you want to get your payday, you want to get your money, and it's kind of hard as a person and a human to say, hey, you getting calls from people and they like, hey man, you're for sure going the first round. You for sure going the first round. It ain't no possibility, none of that. You're going first round. So it's kind of like, okay, well, mama, I'm going. That's how Anthony Richardson is really thinking at that moment. So, of course, there's other things that went into that. But with that being said, if we've been saying for the past 3 years, since 2020, that this is going to be the best QB class that we've seen in a while, why now all of a sudden are we sitting here trying to break these guys down like they're just absolutely problems, right? Okay, so Will Levis was not a highly recruited person. He was a 3-star athlete. He did not attain the Elite 11 invite as one of the top 11 QBs. Or I think he goes top 50 first and then breaks it down to 25 and then the 11, and then the Elite 11 is, that's the ones that compete to win to be the number one quarterback. I can't remember. I haven't followed Elite 11. They don't really do how they used to anymore. Now it's kind of like you got to search or whatever the case is. But from what I've seen from Will Levis, he was not an Elite 11 invite to that camp. And so that tells me right there that, yes, the physical tools are there. Yes, he can throw. But does he necessarily take football to the nth degree, right? Does he love it? That's always been my question about Trevor Lawrence. And watching Trevor Lawrence, him and Will Levis throw a similar ball. What I mean by that is they have one speed, right? They don't have the U type, right? So when you see the ball, picture the ball as my hand, you don't see the ball do this, come out the screen and then boom, drop, right? You see their balls come like this all the time. It's like that, right? If my hand's the ball, that's how this is the release, boom, is in the screen, boom. You don't never see a ball that comes like this, come up out the screen, then come back and then drop, right? Those are touch throws. Those are the throws that are put over the shoulder in good positions. You don't see that from Will Levis. That is a big concern for me. Why? Mr. Cooper, Mr. Black Lion, why is that such a big issue? Okay, well, let me tell you, when it comes to throwing those 15 deep in routes and drag routes, it's something that you have to have, because you have to be able to get that ball with enough touch and velocity to get it over the linebacker, but get it in between the safeties when the middle of the field is open. Okay? What I say about middle of the field open, I mean in some version of a cover two look, right? Where you have the two safeties high. That could be cover four as well, but that's for something totally different. What we're talking about is getting that ball to where it comes. This is the linebacker. It goes over him, but when it goes over him, it gets in between the two safeties before this guy can get a nice shot on your receiver. So I didn't see that from Will Levis. I did not see that. Another thing that I saw that was concerning is his eye movement. He does not manipulate the defense. And that's something that if you watch a lot of the really, really good quarterbacks in the NFL, that's something that they have. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes, they have that. Deshaun Watson had it. Lamar Jackson does not have that. He does not have the manipulation. But what happens is his athletic ability is what gets them to manipulate more than his brain and eyes. So, that's kind of a A-B type deal. Jalen Hurts did that really, really well in the Super Bowl. If you pay attention to a lot of the things that he had, that he was going on, especially one of those throws where he threw an out route to Dallas Goddard, I think is his name, Goddard, I think is his name. He was covered, but the manipulation comes from when he rolled out of the pocket, he kept looking to the left because he had an in route coming that way. So what happened, when that happened, the safety, instead of the safety coming straight down at Dallas Goddard, it left him one-on-one, and it brought A.J. Brown across with a DB or the corner, and then that safety that was high came down. So now you had two bracketing Brown instead of him coming underneath, that safety coming underneath here or over the top here to either break it up or get a nice shot on a tight end. So manipulation, that I give Levis an F on that grade. So I seen a couple of games, and I don't like to put people in a box and say, oh, just this one game. But the Vanderbilt game was very, very concerning to me as an SEC guy. I'm an LSU fan through and through. Always been since a small kid. Notre Dame, LSU has always been my schools. To watch a quarterback that's supposed to be talked about as a top pick in the NFL draft go to Vanderbilt, and y'all say 2021 is the year. He struggled in 2021, and he struggled last year. Vanderbilt does not get that type of recruits at Vanderbilt. Not football guys. Vanderbilt, if people don't know, Vanderbilt is like the Ivy League of the South. That you have to be very, very, very intelligent to get in there. Like SAT scores, GPA, that's an automatic requirement that you have to have. You're not getting there with a 2.7, and just because you big, strong, and fast, and you can outrun 90% of the country, they don't care. You better go to Alabama. That's how they're gonna look at that. So Vanderbilt doesn't have those type of athletes. And for you to go in there and struggle like that is concerning. Then, now we go to everybody say, okay, this is the best tape. The best game that Will Levis had was the Georgia game in 2021. If that's the best that y'all are saying, he's a third round pick. He's Tom Savage. He's Ryan Mallett. He's that's what he is. He's not. If I had to say that what his ceiling would be in the NFL, his ceiling would be probably the 28th, 27th best QB out of the 32 if he was starting. That's his ceiling to me from what I see. His floor, journeyman. I mean, he's a journeyman backup. That's what he is, a journeyman backup. Yes, he has a good arm. Yes, he can throw from one hash 40 yards to the other side. Yes, he has some sort of anticipation. And it's not I will say this, it's not all on him. A lot of the times when we talk about completion percentage, he had, because he doesn't have the type of receivers that the other guys had, they don't catch the ball. So he will hit some guys right smack in the middle of the face mask and the helmet. They're not taking that picture, right? When they get the ball, you got to take that picture. Boom, see it, boom, close, turn and run, right? Yes, he didn't have that talent. And yes, he didn't have the greatest offensive scheme. Yes, he did not have the greatest offensive coordinator. I get all that. The good things about Will Levis, because it's not all bad. So I do see why people get intrigued. I don't understand the Josh Allen comparison. Now, I will say I did miss on Josh Allen too. I didn't think Josh Allen was going to be that, well, mostly because he played in Wyoming. I was really more judging helmet than the actual player. So, but I don't see Josh Allen, because in Wyoming, when I went back through these past few days, I was supposed to drive a video, but like I said, I've been watching a lot of quarterback play. At Wyoming, Josh Allen ran the ball like Jalen Hurts runs the ball. He was physical. He was absolutely the best guy on the field. When you seen Wyoming play Idaho and Boise State and Fresno State, when you seen them play Air Force, when you seen them play, he was absolutely the best player on the field. Will Levis was not the best player on the field. Stetson Bennett is being considered an undrafted free agent, possibly a 6th or 7th round pick, and he won 2 back-to-back national championships. And in Kentucky, he looked like him and Jalen Carter looked like the best players on the field. So again, not one game that I watched from 2021 to 2022. I watched 2021 Georgia, Vanderbilt, Florida, and Tennessee in 2021. Those 4 games, I watched them. He was not the best player on that field. He wasn't the 2nd or 3rd best player on the field those 4 games. 2022, again, the same thing. He was not the best player. He wasn't even the best quarterback in the games in 2022 that I watched. So I'm not understanding. Yeah, he was the best quarterback against Vanderbilt, but I'm not understanding this love that he's getting to be mentioned in his top 3. I don't get it. So then again, like I said, I'm gonna talk about some good. The flick of the wrist. Yes, he delivers it. The problem is, with the flick of the wrist comes bad decision making. When you have an arm like that, you feel like you can fit it in areas that most people can't. And I get it. I understand. You don't have the best offensive line, so you gotta try to fit the ball in certain areas when you see something you think that's open. I get it. But the decision making, the footwork is not always there. The anticipation is not always there. The going from one side of the field to the other, meaning I'm gonna show you guys. So if I'm dropping back, right, and I'm here, I read 1 and I read 2 and I see my check down, everything's boom, I come back to this side to read whatever is coming this way. I don't see that. I don't see that from him. I just don't see it. He may have done it a couple of times in those games, and I want to say it was one play against Tennessee where he did it, but he overshot the drag that was wide open 7 yards down the field. It's just, then he came back the very next play and threw like a dime down the sideline that went for 15 yards. I mean, it's crazy. But as a NFL, like when you're projecting to the NFL, it does not translate. And if the Houston Texans, because this is a Houston Texans channel and we're going to localize it, if we pick him at number 2, that will be the next biggest issue, problem ever. We cannot waste draft picks. If we're going to pick Will Levis, we might as well get Jalen Carter or Will Anderson. We do not have the ability to waste these draft picks. We can't do it. We cannot waste these draft picks. So, again, I'm going to address another rumor. That's my spiel on Will Anderson. Another rumor that's been going around is the Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen has, I guess, Roquan Smith got the big payday. Patrick Queen, I guess he wants his payday. Maybe they had some kind of meeting, saying, hey, it might not be a possibility. And with that being said, with him that not being a possibility, according to people that do these types of things, I don't really follow people's business on Twitter and stuff like that. But they said he's taking down all this stuff on Instagram and Twitter and all that. Stingley put eye emojis and supposedly trying to recruit him, or whatever the case is. And so I was asked the question, how did I feel about if Patrick Queen was to become a Houston Texan? I said that would be an absolute steal. Why? Because I don't think at 33 you're going to find a linebacker, a quarterback of your defense at 33 that's as good as Patrick Queen. Now, again, is 33 too high? I'm thinking it is. Roquan Smith went for a third. From my understanding, we're still talking about trading Brandon Cooks. If you trade Brandon Cooks, that's going to be the best bet. I would say trade Brandon Cooks and the 3rd round pick to the Ravens, and I would ask, hey, look, I have to re-sign Queen. I have to re-sign him. So if y'all take this deal, right, y'all take the money, I would throw in a next year's 4th that could turn into a 3rd if Patrick McQueen plays all 17 games or plays a certain amount of snaps or whatever the case is, or we make the playoffs, some kind of stipulation where that 4 turns into a 3. So now the Ravens get 2 3s. Well, initially it will be a 3 and a 4, and Brandon Cooks is probably on the market. He right now, unless T. Higgins gets put on the market as a trade casualty, I'm saying Brandon Cooks is probably the best receiver on the market. And that's not really saying much because Brandon Cooks is, to me, right now, he's not close to a top 20 receiver. Just off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of everybody. I don't think he scratches the surface as a 10 at all. When you're talking about, in no particular order, I'm just going to say Chase, Jefferson, Hill, Allen, CD Lamb, um, AJ Brown, Smith. Yeah, that's 7. I know I'm missing a couple of other guys. I'm trying to think. D Hop. I'm missing some guys. Shoot, who am I missing? Mike Evans. I would put Chris Godwin. I think him and Chris Cooks and Chris Godwin probably be around the same for me. And I'm missing some people off the top of my head, but yeah, that's kind of like 10 right there. So maybe he's 15. I don't know. That's kind of, but all in all, the Ravens do need a veteran receiver. I don't think they can afford to draft another young receiver. Bateman was a receiver that I felt like was going to be a real good fit for Lamar Jackson, and he has when he's been healthy. But that's when he's been healthy. He's had too many injury concerns. So, yeah. So with that, we give that up with to get Patrick McQueen. I'm happy because, like I say, 3rd round, I had Overshawn from Texas as our draft pick for the 3rd round. Like I say, I don't really think linebacker is a big need for us, but what I can say is the one thing I want to understand is how much do Nick and D'Amico, what positions do they value over others? So I know Lovie Smith, right? Lovie values a certain type of player over another type of player, right? So I want to know if is Nick Caserio still going to go with that New England style where the front 7 is not the main priority, they rather secondary, or are they gonna go to what D'Amico is used to, where the front 7 is the end all be all, and then the secondary is kind of a mismatch of talented players, but they each player does something that's very special, and they kind of move them they're around in different coverages and packages and stuff like that. So when it comes down to free agency, that's when we'll kind of figure it out. So I would say if that was to happen, that's a long shot, but if that was to happen, I think the very, very next thing that you have to do is get that interior defensive line fixed in free agency. Hargrave or Payne has to be your big ticket item, and a center has to be your big ticket item. From what I've been hearing from local news and local people around, they're kind of happy with Kane, and they think AJ Cannon, that played right guard for us. I want to say we probably have one of the best offensive line coaches coming. We got the old offensive line coach coming here. He coached them for, I think they said, like the last 7-8 years. He's been around the league for a long time. He's one of the best. He's highly regarded as one of the best NFL offensive line minds. So, and the Colts have had a really, really good offensive line for a while, up until the past 2 years, maybe. They've always, found somebody. The Andrew Luck years was kind of up and down, but I think he came like towards the end of that. I'm not exactly sure. I would have to look that up. I'm doing this on the fly today because I wanted to get some kind of content out and show you guys what I've been working on. Then also, like I said, that would be in free agency, my big ticket items would be if Pat McQueen is a trade, the next thing is Payne, Hargrave, and a center or a guard. I'm not exactly sure what centers are available that will fit, this zone scheme. And then we have to figure out what kind of variant of this zone. Are we gonna run like a zone power, or are we just strictly gonna run this zone scheme like back in the day with Kubiak? So the other thing is, of course, we hired Bobby Slowick. We got our defensive coordinator as well. People are saying, "Oh, what kind of offense are we gonna run?" I'm thinking it's gonna be some kind of variant of what Kyle runs over there. If you pay attention to all the people that come from Kyle, like Mike McDaniels and a couple of other people, I can't think off the top of my head. Mike McDaniels is a splitting image of Kyle over there in Miami, with the motions, to putting the tight ends in weird positions on the field, and using players to open up other things, especially in the screen game and things like that. Other than that, I think I pretty much covered what I wanted to talk about. So we're up at the 30-minute mark. Again, thank you, Texas Underground. All my underground bulls, keep coming to the bullpen. Let's fill this thing up. Let's fill these like buttons, hit the comments. Let's talk, let's chat. Remember, we are all in this together. We're a family. Once a Texan, always a Texan. I am your host, D-Backline17 on all platforms. I will holla. H-Town, stand up. Uncle Cliff, we miss you, brother.